Welcome to anatomy. So this is going to be the intro to what we're going to do, and I'm going to go pretty quickly over all of it, okay? So there we go. Anatomy and physiology has been around as long as humans have. Back in the day, they thought it looked like it was it was magic. Anything about the human body, the healing and things like that, that was magic. Now we've done some observations and we've learned the science behind all of it. And most of the words we're going to learn are from Greek and Latin. So it'll help you a lot if you understand those root words. You can maybe figure out what something is and or what something is called based on that information. There we go. So anatomy, because this is anatomy and physiology. Anatomy is the structure of the body, the physiology, the fact that the nose is front and center on the face, ears on the side, what the shape of the heart is, where the heart is, how many chambers it has. All that stuff is anatomy, the morphology of the body parts. Physiology is how it works. So how the heart pumps, how the nerves send the information from the brain to the rest of the body and back, how your stomach digests the food. So all of that stuff is important in the on the work and on how the body works. And anatomy and physiology work together. So they are interrelated. Structure dictates function. Just like your hand can grasp, like the picture is showing, it shows that it is meant to hold. You can figure out what something is meant to do or probably meant to do based on its structure. So you can see the mouth and the heart and how those things work just by looking at the picture. Levels of organization. So if we start with, I'm going to actually go big to small, which is opposite of this picture, but I think you guys will be okay. So we start with the organism. Now, this is human anatomy and physiology, so in this case, the organism is always the human. Then we break that down. The human is made up of organ systems. We have the cardiovascular system, the nervous system, the excretory system. There's more. We'll go over that in a second. Each organ system is made up of a group of organs that help perform the same function. Like the stomach is an organ in the digestive system, and it helps break down food. Each organ is made of a group of tissues, and those tissues work together to do the job the organ needs to do. So in the case of the stomach, there's muscles that help move the stomach. There's coverings or skin or integument that help cover and protect and absorb. There's blood vessels to take in those absorbed nutrients and get it to the blood itself. All of that stuff works together to make the function of the organ. Each tissue is made of a bunch of cells working together, and that is where we're going to start in this class. We're going to start learning about the cells, the cytology, in the next section, the next chapter. Each cell is made of a bunch of organelles. You've heard of these before: the nucleus, the nucleolus, the Golgi apparatus, the ER. You've heard of these before. They all work together to make the cell. Each organelle is made up of chemicals or macromolecules, big ones. So carbohydrates, proteins, those things make up your organelles. Molecules are small things that make up the macromolecule. Pictured there is a water molecule. That water molecule is there, and it's made up of, it's in most of your organs. We are a very heavy percentage of water. Each molecule is made up of atoms. In the case of water, it has 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. And each atom is made up of subatomic particles, the electron, the proton, the neutron, etc. So I actually went through this. Again, atoms are made up of subatomic particles. Molecules are made of 2 or more atoms. Macromolecules are small molecules joined together. They come together, macromolecules, to make organelles, and then cells. That one gets 2 parts. And the cell's definition is the basic structural and functional unit of the body. It is the smallest living thing. It does all the living things that your body does. It digests, it reproduces, it respires, it changes, it adapts. The cell does all that, and these organelles in them help that happen. There are 4 basic types of tissues. They work together to form a function for an organ. Those basic types of tissues are epithelial, which is the covering, the connective tissue, which literally connects things together, the muscle tissue for movement, and nerve tissue for conduction of electrical impulses. Those type of things come together to make your organs, 2 or more of the tissues together to make a specific shape or function. Then they come together to make a system. There are 11 systems, what we're going to learn about. And so they come together like the digestive system, digest your food. The organ systems, now we're going to go over each of the 11 ones. The integumentary system's job is to cover and protect your skin, your hair, your glands. All of that is part of the integumentary system. The internal and external skin, because each organ has a skin on it, a covering on it, and that's part of the integument system. So its function is to protect the body, to regulate your body temperature. I think you probably have heard if somebody got burned, they had a hard time regulating their body temperature because the skin actually keeps your temperature constant because we are endotherms. We make our own heat and they come out. It eliminates the waste, sweat, and things like that have to leave through the body. It helps us produce vitamin D by the sun hitting our skin. It's actually important to get 5 minutes of direct sunlight, unprotected direct sunlight every day to get that vitamin D. Now you don't want to go overboard. You don't want to do it on a high UV index day because you don't want to get skin cancer. But you do want your body to get that vitamin D because vitamin D helps your body absorb and digest calcium. And then your body uses that calcium in so many ways. We'll learn about it. And sensation. And you can feel touch based on the skin. Sorry. The next one is the skeletal system. Its job is to support and protect. Those are the main ones. It includes the bones, the joints, the cartilage, and all those things work together. They support the body so we're upright. They protect, like the ribs protect the heart and the lungs. It helps us move, like the bones help me move my hands. Your bones actually also produce your blood cells, your red blood cells, your white blood cells. That happens in your bone marrow, and you knew that at some point in time, I'm sure. And it stores your mineral and salts. Some of your calcium and stuff like that gets stored in your bones, and phosphates, and even fat gets stored in your bones. So that way you won't starve to death. If you happen to be somebody who is anorexic or bulimic, your bones might actually start to get more weak. All right, muscular system's job is for movement and body heat and posture, but I consider that kind of part of movement. So these contain your skeletal muscles. You have 3 different kinds of muscles: cardiac, smooth, and skeletal muscles. Smooth is going to be with whatever organ they're in. Cardiac is in the heart. Skeletal muscles are on the bones, and again, their job is to help us move and generate heat. So what I mean there is if you are cold, your body will shiver. When it does that, it releases heat because it's actually a byproduct of our metabolism. So it releases heat, and that helps warm us up. If you're cold, you want to move around. You want to jiggle your leg. You want to do what you can to warm up. You don't want to just sit down and be still. The nervous system's job is to conduct impulses. This is going to be your brain, your spinal cord, your nerves, and your special sense organs, your nose, your mouth, your lips. Those things count in the nervous system when they act in conducting the impulses. So they send the impulses first from the brain to the body for movement and reaction, and then from the body to the brain for interpreting the changes around us, the environment they're in, and then the brain itself makes the decisions based on that, so we can work based on what is going on around us. If you're cold, you shiver. That all happens because of the nervous system. The next one is the endocrine system. The endocrine system's job is to produce hormones, and hormones do so much. You know them as testosterone and estrogen, and those are your sex hormones. They create you as an adult human so you can reproduce. But there's also the insulin and your adrenaline and other hormones like that that affect other parts of your body. So your testes, your adrenal glands, your thyroid, your thymus, thyroid, thymus, adrenals, the pancreas, the testes, the ovaries, and then you have the hypothalamus, the thalamus, and the pituitary up in the brain. The next one is the cardiovascular system. The cardiovascular system's job is to move things around. Part of the blood, if you say move blood around, that's not quite right, because blood is part of the cardiovascular system. Blood itself carries the oxygen and the nutrients. So it pumps the blood, it carries the oxygen and nutrients and waste where they need to go. The nutrients into the cells, the waste out of the cells. And it also helps balance your water in your body, in your acid-base potential, and even your temperature. And you've probably done this. You've been hot in bed and you stick out your leg. And that doesn't just make your leg cold. It cools off your entire body because the blood is moving throughout your body all the time. So that blood in your leg got a little cooler, just a little bit, and that helped cool off the rest of your body. The next system is the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system's job is to transport lipids and protect you, specifically from bacteria and viruses. These, your lymph nodes get swollen if you are fighting an infection. So it includes the fluid inside there and the vessels that it goes through. You can see the green traveling throughout this human's body. The spleen helps get rid of any broken down stuff. The thymus there above the heart is going to be part of this. The lymph nodes, and those are going to be the dots you see throughout this picture. And then the tonsils, and some of you may or may not have your tonsils anymore. We get rid of the tonsils when they cause too much problem, when they get infected too often. But otherwise, they're there to help protect us. But the body is complex, and sometimes it breaks, and we have to do something about it. Next one, respiratory system. The respiratory system is to exchange gases, produce sound like I am doing right now because of my respiratory system, to produce sound so you know what I'm doing, and also regulates the acid base in my body. So it includes the lungs, the pharynx, which is going to be this area behind my mouth, the larynx. The larynx is going to be the area right back here before it gets to my trachea, and then the bronchial tree. So this picture here shows the lungs and the bronchial tree, which is what you see right there, and then the trachea. What you don't see is the larynx right there, the sound-producing part, and the pharynx, which is going to be back behind your nose and mouth. The digestive system's job is to break down our food, obtain the nutrients from that food, get the nutrients where they need to be in your body, and get rid of any waste that are left over. So breakdown of food, absorption of food, and eliminates waste. The mouth, the pharynx, again, that's part of the respiratory and digestive system. The esophagus, which is the tube behind the trachea. The small intestines, which are going to be these small jumbled ones in the center. The large intestine, which is this big outer one, the stomach, the liver, the gallbladder, this tiny little green thing underneath the liver there. Your salivary glands help break down, that's part of your digestive system. And your pancreas. You can't see the pancreas in this picture because it's actually behind the large intestine underneath the stomach. But so all of those things help our body get the food where it needs to go, break it down, and get rid of the waste. The urinary system's job is to eliminate nitrogenous waste, a liquid waste, and regulate our blood composition and volume and our acid-base balance. And this includes your kidneys, which are on either side of your spine, your ureters, which are these tubes that go from the kidneys to the bladder, which is in the center down, and then the urethra, which is where you urinate out. And so the body takes, the kidneys filter out the blood and get rid of any extra water, salt, whatever, and get rid of that waste for us. And that changes based on what you need. If you are well hydrated, your urine is going to be very light yellow, almost clear. If you are dehydrated, you're going to notice a very yellow urine because your body's keeping that water. It needs it. But if you have enough, it's going to rinse it out so you can help get rid of any of the extra junk in your body. And the last organ system for today is going to be the reproductive system. The reproductive system's job is to produce offspring. First, the gametes, the egg and sperm, to make the offspring, and also the hormone production, which is ultimately for offspring production. These include the ovaries for females, the testes for males, and the associated structures, so the penis for males, the breast for females, the vagina, the fallopian tubes, the epididymis, the seminal vesicles. Those all are part of the reproductive system.